scared if your favorite player on a certain team is not protected, because that doesn't automatically mean that they're not going to be with that team for the next season. And it also doesn't automatically mean that that team doesn't value that player just because they didn't protect them. Does that make sense? So let's jump into this article. I'm going to point out a couple teams that I feel like you guys would be most interested in. Let's start with the Chicago Sky. So the
anxiety you're hearing is real. We're already past the date when the expansion draft should have happened. December 6th came and went. That's when Golden State held its expansion draft last year. Now, there's still no CBA agreement, no draft date, and no clarity. Meanwhile, two new expansion teams, Toronto Tempo and Portland Fire, are stuck in limbo as the entire league watches the clock run down. What makes this situation even more complicated is the WNBA's proposed salary structure. The current maximum salary of around $220,000 could become the new minimum. That means what players like Breanna Stewart and Aya Wilson earned as max players last season would be the baseline for everyone. Average salaries could rise to $400,000 to $500,000, with a new supermax exceeding $1 million per year. This uncertainty is exactly why predicting the expansion draft right now is so difficult. ESPN released protected player projections, and fans immediately panicked over who wasn't protected. But most people are missing the bigger picture. This isn't about which players teams value most. It's about contracts and free agency rules. Take the Indiana Fever's protected list: Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, and Temi Fagbenel. Fans were shocked to see Sophie Cunningham unprotected. But the reality is she's an unrestricted free agent. Unless an expansion team views her as a cornerstone worth a max contract, she's unlikely to be selected. And if she is picked and gets that deal, that's a win for her. The same logic applies to Erica Wheeler, Damaris Dantas, Katie Lou Samuelson, and others. Their contract status protects them more than a roster slot ever could.
Protecting them so they can get trade value out of them. Another one was Arike Ogunbowale with the Dallas Wings. It doesn't seem like Arike's future is with Dallas, and it especially doesn't seem like Arike's future is with Dallas if the Dallas Wings draft AZ Fudd to play alongside Paige Beckers. It seems like a situation where Dallas is probably just going to build around Paige, and the Paige Arike experiment, that's not the greatest word for it, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. Those two weren't a winning formula. They're both incredible players, but it didn't turn out to be the dynamic back.
Some teams are protecting players specifically to preserve trade value. Dallas, for example, doesn't appear committed to an Eric Ogunbowale future long-term, especially if they draft Paige Buchers. That backcourt experiment didn't work as expected. But you don't let a multi-time all-star walk for nothing. You protect her, explore trades, and extract value. Chicago is doing something similar with Angel Reese. From a chemistry standpoint, protecting her seems questionable, especially given visible tension last season. But strategically, it makes sense. By protecting Reese, Chicago maintains leverage. They can negotiate trades, maximize her rookie contract value, and avoid losing a franchise-level player for free.
Expecting there's also some injuries with Arike, but a lot of fans and media are expecting that Arike might not stay in Dallas for the long term. But of course, you would want to get some value from trading her instead of just letting her walk. Now, the Golden State Valkyries are an interesting one because I feel like Valkyries fans are going to be really sad after this expansion draft and also free agency, because the Golden State Valkyries, they did so much better than any of us expected last season, and they built a fan base.
Then there's Golden State. And this is where it really hurts. The Valkyries exceeded every expectation. They sold out Chase Center, built a passionate fan base instantly, and proved expansion teams can compete right away. But now they're vulnerable. With only 5 protection slots, one fewer than last year, they've been forced into brutal decisions. Veterans like Monique Billings, Tiffany Hayes, and key defensive contributors could be exposed. Even fan favorite Kate Martin, a top 5 rookie in jersey sales, is unprotected. Toronto and Portland will have real opportunities to strip meaningful talent from a successful roster.
sold out every single home game. Obviously, they play in Chase Center, which is a huge arena. They already have just such a loyal fan base as an expansion team, but that's also good news for the new expansion teams in the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire. And I also just saw today that the Toronto Tempo said that their season tickets are officially.
The good news for Toronto and Portland is that the Golden State model works. When the Valkyries sold out season tickets, many assumed it was a Bay Area anomaly. But Toronto just announced their season tickets are already sold out before playing a single game. That's the Caitlin Clark effect rippling through the league. The WNBA's visibility exploded in 2024. Attendance shattered records, TV ratings doubled and tripled, merchandise sales surged, and expansion teams are now benefiting from that momentum.
2026 season. I also wanted to talk about the ineligible players for this expansion draft because there's quite a few on this list and I don't even understand why. The only thing I can understand is maybe because they're veterans and maybe it has something to do with their contract. If you guys know, please let me know in the comments, but Natasha Howard is one who is ineligible. Jewel Lloyd is also ineligible. Jonquel Jones and Brianna Stewart are ineligible, which is great for the New York Liberty. And also Dwana Bonner, Kalia Copper, and Skylar Diggins and Nneka Ogwumike.
One of the most confusing aspects of the expansion draft is the ineligible players list. Big names like Natasha Howard, Jewel Lloyd, Jonquel Jones, and Brianna Stewart are ineligible, which is great news for their teams. Others like Dwana Bonner, Kalia Copper, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and Nneka Ogwumike also appear protected by eligibility rules. The best assumption is that this is tied to veteran status and specific contract structures in the upcoming CBA. But until the actual language is released, even analysts admit they're speculating.
Bore you getting into the nitty gritty of all of this because this is still all speculation. We still don't even know if we are going to have an expansion draft this year if they don't get the CBA done. But I just wanted to give you guys a little update on what's going on in the expansion draft. And also, you guys, tomorrow starts Team USA training camp. So hopefully there will be some content that we can cover from that. Also, this weekend is the NBA Cup tournament. The Spurs are playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm really excited about that because those are two of my favorite teams in the NBA. So I will be covering some NBA.
What we do know is that the new CBA will fundamentally reshape the WNBA. Minimum salaries jumping from around $60,000 to over $220,000 changes everything. Average salaries doubling, Supermax contracts exceeding $1 million. This will force massive roster turnover. Veterans will chase financial security. Role players will finally be paid their value. Teams will have to make painful decisions. And all of this needs to be settled before the expansion draft happens.
Covering Team USA. If there's any other topics or things that you guys want me to cover during Radmas, please let me know in the comments below. Also, there will be some vlogs during Radmas too, which is really fun. I vlogged in New York. I'm editing that one currently. But with all of that, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. Thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it. Click that little subscribe button because we upload new videos every single week. And with that, I'll see you next time.
So where does that leave us? The WNBA is running out of time. Not, we have until May time, real operational time. Expansion drafts, free agency, roster building, training camps, marketing, and ticket sales are all frozen while everyone waits on the CBA. The players are fighting for fair pay and better conditions. The league is trying to balance growth with sustainability. And fans are stuck watching the calendar flip with no answers. This offseason will be chaotic. Teams will lose players they wanted to keep. Fan bases will be upset. Rosters will look dramatically different. But the real question isn't who gets protected. It's whether the WNBA can execute the most important offseason in its history without derailing the momentum of 2024. Can the league manage growth responsibly? Can it expand successfully while raising salaries across the board? And can it avoid fumbling the biggest moment it's ever had? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Should teams protect their best players or their most valuable trade assets? And can the WNBA pull this off? ChatGPT can make Mista